Okay, this lecture module is called Perfect Competition versus Pattern Prediction. Key works here. After we get done with the lecture, we'll be seeing on YouTube a conversation between Frederick Hayek and James Buchanan shortly after Hayek won his Nobel Prize and before Buchanan won his. So key works here regarding this work, or this idea I'm about to show you. Here's Hayek's The Counter-Revolution of Science, Studies in the Abuse of Reason. And here's James Buchanan, between economics, between predictive science and moral philosophy. I was able to meet James Buchanan at the Public Choice Center in George Mason University. Okay, as discussed, perfect competition is the ideal model that regulatory economists believe the economy should be moving towards. So if you can look up positivism on Wiki. So perfect competition is applied micro and regulatory policy based on the perfect competition ideal, where pattern recognition is the notion that market outcomes cannot be planned or controlled and rather are general tendencies. As an example, we'll look at cigarettes in New York City. Somebody who recently ran for president, who was the mayor of New York City, doubled the sales tax on cigarettes because the person is a paternalist. A paternalist, so wants to protect people from themselves, so he doubles the sales tax on New York City on cigarettes without realizing that all that did was create smuggling between Virginia and New York. So he's got his tax, he's got his tax advisors in his economic office, and they say, okay, you can raise the cigarette tax and you'll make this much revenues. But let's look at that now with the notion of pattern prediction. So for Buchanan and Hayek, perfect competition is a false ideal or a false model to work towards, because in fact, market outcomes are unknown and unknowable and unpredictable, and they're a pattern of outcomes that tend towards perfect competition but never are there. So in our tax wedge example, we've looked at tax wedges. There's the pattern. You put, here's the tax wedge, right? But because the economy is a pattern, not perfect competition, you can't really realize how much taxes you're going to raise, especially when you look at this partial equilibrium model. You're only looking at, in this case, cigarettes in New York City. You're not looking at the general equilibrium model, where you're not factoring in the fact that people would be smuggling cigarettes in from elsewhere. Right, so that completes our lecture module on perfect competition versus pattern prediction. Thank you.